Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be taking you through a server tour of the Draconis Expanse server. It's a server that's based on the Expanse books and shows, so if you're a fan of that, you're really going to like this tour. We're going to look at some NPC stations that the admins have made, and we're also going to be looking at some player-made stations from factions who have volunteered to show their stations off in this video. First, we're going to be looking at Ceres Station. For those who don't know, Ceres Station is a station in the Expanse that's in one of the asteroids in the belt, and that is the Ceres asteroid. It's built into the rock, which is really cool, and then the asteroid was actually spun up to create spin gravity on the station. On the server, the admins have actually put this station inside of the asteroid. It's really cool. They have these huge hangars. You can see I'm on approach right now, just slowly coming in. One thing you'll notice is that on this server, you can only have your main drives pointing in one direction, so you have to do flip and burn maneuvers, just like in the Expanse lore. As I line things up here for final approach, you can see that the admins have given us 2 small hangars and 1 big hangar, and the big hangar can actually accommodate up to 2 or 3 ships, which is really cool. And in the middle there, between the 2 stations underneath the ground, actually is where the majority of the player interactable areas are for the station. Now that we've connected, gonna head up into the station. Take a nice stroll up this ladder here. As you come into the station, the admins have done a really good job of creating this really cool viewable area, so you can see any ships that are docked in the hangar, as well as you can look right out into space, see the Milky Way there. It's pretty cool. As you come in here, there are all of the store blocks that you can interact with. So you have, Tycho, you have Baratinus Gas, you have the OPA over here, FedEx, and then on the other side here, you can see the 2 smaller hangars that have a bridge down the middle that you can go through. Looking at the exterior of the station, you can just see what a good job the admins did placing it into the ground, making a little crater around it, giving it some natural features that make it look really cool. You can see my ship in there, my little freighter, actually big freighter, and how it fits. All the lights showing up in the distance just looks super cool in my opinion. The admins also left us some cool little Easter eggs. So you have a crashed rock hopper down here. This is the starter grid you get when you join the server. The crashed MCRN frigate, which is pretty fun. Every once in a while the distress signal actually goes off on this and shows a giant red beacon on everyone's screen just to scare you if you're docked. And then if you look over on this side, we actually have the Canterbury model crashed as well. So, the outside of Ceres Station is just a graveyard of ships apparently. This is just to show you some scale of what it looks like inside the hangar itself. And they get a couple of beauty shots. And of course, when you're done with trading and interacting with the NPC station, You burn the hangar down as you blast out into space and get this really cool shot. Next, we're going to take a look at the Europa KOTH. For those who don't know what KOTH is, it's King of the Hill. So this is a point that factions and groups can fight over to maintain control of. You get monetary rewards for controlling this, as well as there are resources that spawn inside this building that I'm showing you. So this is the Europa Research Center. And you can see it has a giant hole into the ground where people are doing research on Europa. And then as you go in here, you can see the golden cargo container, which contains all of the resources that you get from controlling the KOTH. So not only do you have to control the KOTH, but you have to come in here and get the resources themselves. The KOTH has actually seen a couple battles over the last week, multiple factions fighting, so you can see there's some wreckage around, defense towers that have been destroyed, and it looks like someone landed a crashed half of a Sirocco here. The Sirocco is one of the MCRN NPCs, and of course, a famous MCRN ship. Gonna take a look at this a little further. It just the front half of it that is crash landed here, and looks like they threw a reactor in there, and maybe this is just a spawn point or some kind of base, but obviously they don't care very much because I can just walk right onto it and just kind of look around here. Our next stop is going to be Medina Station inside the ring space. So this server does actually have the ring space, which is super cool. So as you approach this, the Sol ring gate, you'll be teleported into the ring space after a short loading screen. Once you're in the ring space, Medina Station is right in front of you. You can fly up to it and dock with it and trade. Once you dock with Medina Station, you can just walk right on over, go through, cycle the airlock. And walk right in. Inside of Medina, you have these cool elevators, which are really awesome. So you can use all the floors of Medina, because in the Expanse, ships are built as giant vertical towers, essentially, of floors, one on top of each other, as they use thrust gravity to give gravity to the crews on the ship. As we wait for the elevator, you can see there's some cool artwork that the admins have put up just of Medina Station and the Behemoth, which is what it was before. Going up to level 3, this is the main drum, which is pretty cool how the admins have done this. It says watch your step as you go onto a drum, which I think is really funny. But once you get out here, the admins have actually done this really cool thing where they have different gravity gens. So now to simulate, Medina Station's spin gravity, you can actually walk around the outside of the drum, which is really cool. They have some of our modded blocks here. And then as you go outside, just want to give you a little tour of how cool that Medina looks inside the ring space. So the first faction we're going to be taking a look at is OTG, and this is a really cool design station because it has an automatic printer on it. So that arm up top actually moves out as the print goes, and it senses when the next layer is done and then moves it out. And so he's actually going to print something real quick. I'm going to do a quick time lapse as he prints. skip ahead a little, and here's the final result, a nice gunship for you. And yeah, nothing like having an automatic printer to make your life a little bit easier. So you can go AFK, you can go do whatever, not have to babysit your print. The next couple bases we're going to be looking at belong to VOL. It's the Voltaire Collective. For those of you who don't know, the Voltaire Collective is a extremist OPA group inside of the Expanse lore. So this faction is RPing as that, you know, telling the Inyalotas to go back to their planets and leave the belt alone. But here you can see just a basic industrial base. You know, there's a gunship there, there's a freighter, a miner, some utility ships. Utility ships are always the, you know, black sheep of the fleet, just whatever works, slap it together. But yeah, super cool gunship here. You can see they have a bunch of torpedo racks on here so they can shoot a bunch of torpedoes at once. These are the belter torpedoes. They have to be hand loaded, so you actually have to go outside your ship to load them. They don't take any conveying, which I think is a really cool touch to make it feel belter. This is the second Vol base. This is one of their more developed bases. So here you can see just a massive base, tons of storage, tons of industry, and of course this awesome mining ship. This is a PAM miner. So it uses the PAM script to actually send this little miner in front of you out on expeditions into the belt from the mothership. And it's a drone, so it'll go out and mine for you and then come back and dock and return all of its cargo. I think it's really cool how they made this look like a cargo ship, essentially, you know, that's been engineered to be a miner, with these fake little freight containers that are going down the middle. As we look at their base, you can see just the insane amount of hydrogen storage. Hydrogen is the only fuel for engines on this server, so every engine and drive uses hydrogen, and of course just a massive ship printer. Every single base that we're going to tour has a ship printer, which is really cool. It's just these awesome, almost ingenious feats of engineering that these players have come up with. Next, we're going to take a look at the Laconia faction's base, and the Laconia faction has been around for a really, really long time. I think they're one of the longest factions on the server. They're incredibly developed, incredibly powerful. And of course they have this beautiful base, number 69, of course. You know, just all of this storage and industry. They have their flag on a giant LCD. For those of you who don't know what the Laconia is, I would encourage you to go read the Expanse books. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but they're ultra powerful, very smart, and this faction RPs very well as them. They, like everyone else, have a huge printer wall with an automatic printing arm, so it senses when the print finishes the layer and then moves out 3 meters to allow the next layers to print, which is pretty cool. Looking at some of their ships, you know, this is one of their battleships, which is really, really cool. It's based on a couple different Expanse designs, has double railguns, a bunch of PDCs, torpedoes, etc. Having fought one of these before, it's incredibly dangerous, so you definitely don't want to be in its path. They have all their torpedo launchers in front there, and then just look at the PDC coverage on this thing. It should be able to shoot down anything that gets thrown its way. The double railguns, of course, super cool, being able to punch through basically whole ships. And then it looks like they even have some angled PDCs, which is really cool, just to give you those extra covering on your weak spots. This base belongs to the faction Sus. They are aligned with VOL, another kind of belter pirate faction, which is pretty cool. They have this massive printing wall. I've never seen one this big. It's pretty insane. but they must be printing some pretty big stuff to have a wall like that. I assume it's in the quantum hangar, but they just have a really good looking base. You know, the fuel tanks are colored a different color to indicate they're explosive. They have these awesome airlocks that they can connect their ships to, and then of course just a tons of storage and a little utility tug down there. Everything a good base needs. Looks really, really good. And that's it for the tour. Hope you guys enjoyed looking at the Draconis Expanse server. Super fun server, super cool setting, and of course, just a really great time. Hopefully you guys will come and join us. Discord link is in the description.